Metal Gear Solid, a name, a legend. A legendary game series, in fact. It pioneered the stealth genre before anyone else had the courage to try it. It pushed on a message of peace that for once wasn't just in words, but in its game design as well, actively encouraging the player to avoid confrontations or at least use non-lethal methods if forced to fight, contrary to its contemporaries that instead made you resolve each conflict with guns blazing. Metal Gear Solid, however, means a lot more. It means indeed stealth, but also deep story, great characters, and endless cutscenes admittedly.
Kept you waiting, huh?
But the name itself, Metal Gear Solid, what does it even mean? Why is this series called this way? So, elation and jubilation gamers from all around the world. I am Lucian and this is the World Gamer Show. And today we're going to find out the true meaning behind the name Metal Gear Solid. To understand the origin of the name, we actually need to trace back the steps of the series itself. In fact, not everyone knows that the first Metal Gear Solid, released in 1998 on the original PlayStation, isn't actually the first in the series.
What did you say?
Not even the second for that matter. It's actually the third, at least canonically speaking. Before the first Metal Gear Solid, we actually had Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, released only in Japan in 1987 and 1990 respectively, both on the MSX2 computer. Only years later they would finally be localized in English as part of the re-release of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. In both cases, just like in the third game, we follow the steps of Spy Solid Snake, who needs to infiltrate a military base, possibly undetected, and destroy the ultimate military weapon, Metal Gear, the bipedal mech capable of launching a nuke. As you might have noticed, both Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake don't have the Solid part in the main title. So here we got the first distinction we need to make. Metal Gear is one thing, Solid came later. So why Metal Gear? Well, it is actually related to the story of the game. It is in fact the name of the terrible gigantic mech that was built by Russian scientist Dr. Magnar. The name origin was actually explained in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, where Dr. Granin explains to Big Boss that he sees the Metal Gear as the figurative missing link between the infantry and the artillery.
A kind of Metal Gear, if you will.
What do you mean by that?
While this explanation has been criticized over the years for being kind of outlandish, I can understand what Groening meant. His explanation can make sense if we consider that Metal Gear is a bipedal mech, totally capable of walking, so it could be considered indeed as walking infantry made of metal and gears, or even as a figurative gear that joins the two categories of infantry and metal vehicles like tanks. So in a sense, the name Metal Gear perfectly fits. Since this mech is a recurring theme and of course also an enemy throughout the series, with many incarnations showing up in each episode, that's what the series was called after. Well, aside from the fake sequel Snake's Revenge, which didn't even bother to include a Metal Gear, and this game doesn't even have the name Metal Gear in its title, so it actually makes sense come to think of it. Well, it still sucked balls anyway. The video will resume straight after a short commercial break.
Listen up. This is an extremely sensitive covert operation. You'll be one man against an entire squad of high-tech special ops. They will be armed, and they will be dangerous. If you want to survive, you gotta have brains. You have to be in peak physical condition. You have to have nerves of steel. The fate of the free world is in your hands, soldier. Failure is not an option.
Sir, aren't these tests kinda easy?
Suicide mission.
So now that we have one part of the mystery solved, what about the Solid added to the third game in the series, Metal Gear Solid? That is actually a play on words that has more than one meaning. First, Solid is of course the name of the protagonist, Solid Snake, but also a nod to the fact that the game is now in full 3D, thanks to the power of the PlayStation. 3D means that everything is finally made of polygons, so solid stuff in a way, not 2D anymore. Yes, I know it's a stretch, but what can you do? Anyway, being that the first Metal Gear Solid was a true rebirth for the series and a huge commercial success, the name with the Solid part actually stuck, as Konami didn't want to keep changing the base of the name of such a well-known franchise at this point, which makes perfect sense. Good old times when Konami did make sense. So yeah, that's the true meaning of the name Metal Gear Solid. But guys, what do you think of it? Did you ever stop and think about the name's true meaning? Or is it just me?
Did you say nerd?
Did you ever play any game from the series? If so, which one is your favorite?
All of them.
Also feel free to let me know if you like this new format and would like to see more in the future. And if so, which other series name origins should I take on next? As usual, let me know down in the comment section. Seeing your comments and getting to interact with you guys is really the best part of what I do. And speaking of that, I want to give a big shout out to the Review Den and Gaming My Whole Life. These two lads here, aside from being some of the best content creators you'll ever see here on YouTube, they also happen to be two excellent people, so I urge you to go and check out their videos. But really, there are so many wonderful people among you guys that keep on supporting what I do. This is also why I want to thank you very much for spending some of your precious time to watch this video to the end. I will be sure to see you in my next one, but until then, stay safe, play safe, world gamers.